Mixed signals for Social Security, RFK won't vote for himself, and more secrets have been uncovered, guys. So let me go ahead and ask you guys a question. Is Social Security unfair to the rich? Should the rich be able to claim Social Security benefits? I mean, they did pay into the Social Security system like everyone else, right? Well, it's been a rough few months for those who receive Social Security benefits as we continue to receive mixed signals from our lawmakers. What happened with the Social Security, SSI, and SSDI increases for 2023? We hear that many of them want to improve our cash flow and provide elders with a sliver of financial freedom, while all we've had are just proposals and talks, but not much actually being done to provide people on Social Security, SSI, and SSDI the financial security that they need and deserve. Now, while some recipients of Social Security count on the likes of Representative John Larson to aggressively push for Social Security increases and reform for the sixth time with the Social Security 2100 Act, forcing the issue of fixing Social Security, we all know the truth. Now, what's really frightening is that despite all of this talk about improving solvency and adding more for seniors, we also hear that cuts are not just possible, they're probably inevitable. And that's what some analysts are saying, as there seems to be no concrete plans to actually help Social Security and the millions of Americans who receive these benefits. Now, the expectation is that by 2032, maybe 2034, recipients should be expecting some cuts. But what states would actually be impacted the least? So let's go ahead and go down the line and discuss the benefits for particular states. Now, from here, we can see that Utah, Alaska, and Texas may be best suited to endure potential cuts to Social Security. How, you might ask? Well, their demographic is younger with fewer people that are age 67 and up. Plus, they also have a good state-based aid program for seniors, which means that they already have a sort of a safety net in place. Now, there are some states that don't tax retirement income, namely Illinois, Iowa, Mississippi, and Pennsylvania. By the way, if you own a home, make sure your home is protected. Get your free home warranty quote. There's a link in the description down below of this video. Now, keep in mind, there's also those that have all income exempt from taxation. And these states are Alaska, Florida, Nevada, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Washington, and Wyoming. Do any of you guys live in these states? And if so, how are your benefits? And if you don't live in these states, are any of you guys thinking about moving to these states to save a lot of money? From states that will fare well if cuts are actually made to these benefits, let's go ahead and move on to another proposal that also wants to reform Social Security. So you got Senators Bill Cassidy and Angus King. They're now proposing to create a sovereign wealth fund to help pay for this benefit with $1.5 trillion or more in borrowed money. Now, the other option would be to change the formula that calculates Social Security monthly benefits from one based on workers' average earnings over the 35-year period to one that's based on the number of years that are spent working and paying into Social Security. You know what? I appreciate proposals as much as the next guy, but as we paid into this program, I believe that solvency should never be an issue. What do you guys think? You know what? You can comment your thoughts down below, and while you guys are at it, please don't forget to drop a quick like for the video and also subscribe to the channel. Now, moving on, what do you guys think about the recent updates with the Biden family and the alleged bribery scheme that they've been doing for years? Now, just to jog you guys' memories a little bit, do you guys remember this footage where former Vice President Joe Biden was asked about the business dealings of his son, Hunter Biden, back in 2019?
There's one thing that a lot of Democrats even do wonder about, and that is Hunter Biden, your son, was getting paid a lot of money to serve on the board of a Ukrainian energy company facing serious corruption charges. You were the vice president running point on Ukraine. The average Joe hears that and says, that sounds fishy. What's your understanding of what your son was doing for an extraordinary amount of money?
I don't know what he was doing. I know he was on the board. I found out he was on the board after he was on the board, and that was it. And there's nobody...
Well, you've had a lot of time. Isn't this something you want to get to the bottom of?
No, because I trust my son.
But that doesn't pass the smell test. Like, when you're vice president, isn't there a higher standard? Don't you need to know what's happening with your family? Don't you need to put down some guardrails?
Unless there was something that was, there was something on its face that was wrong. There's nothing on its face that was wrong. So look, if you want to talk about problems, let's talk about Trump's family.
This did not age well, did it? Now, although he did get what he wants as Trump continues to be tied to legal issues, mostly because of the DOJ that he pretty much controls, not that he's interfering with that, right? Sure. Now, Devin Archer, ex-best friend to the first son, he's expected to testify regarding multiple meetings wherein Hunter would dial in the big guy on the speakerphone whenever he talked with overseas partners.
Devin Archer, who was he was on the board of Burisma with Hunter Biden.
His best friend.
He was his best friend at the time. He's supposed to testify this week before Congress. We're going to learn more information. But it is being reported by Miranda Devine, who's been all over this story in the New York Post, that Hunter would call his dad on speakerphone when his dad was vice president during the meetings with the foreign business associates of Burisma. Remember, he said, I don't know anything about my son's business engagements. I don't talk to him about work. But apparently they spoke on speakerphone more than 24 times.
Yeah. It's a stunning article by Miranda Devine in the New York Post. Here's the cover of it. It says, phone a friend. Hunter got Joe on speaker to impress clients.
Now, one of these meetings supposedly happened back in December 2015, 4 years before the interview that I showed you. Now, Archer, he's expected to tell the story wherein he and Hunter traveled 6 miles to the Four Seasons Resort, Dubai, to have a drink with one of Hunter's friends. And as they were seated outside the bar, a senior Burisma executive asked where Hunter was because Burisma's owner, he needed to talk to him ASAP. Soon afterwards, the two Ukrainians were with Hunter and Archer at the bar, where one of the Burisma executives asked the first son to ring his dad. Now, by this time, it was early afternoon in Washington, D.C., and after then VP Biden answered the call, Hunter then introduced them to each other via speakerphone. Does this mean that he was more in the know about his son's business dealings than he lets on? Or is Archer just simply lying to all of us? Now, which do you guys think makes more sense? What makes sense is for one of President Biden's opponents for 2024 to go ahead and come out and say that things need to be investigated further. And this is exactly what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. wants to happen. So RFK, he also agreed that our federal agencies, much like the Justice Department, has been weaponized as political instruments. Now, I guess the same could be said for mainstream news sites, as RFK has said that he wouldn't vote for himself if he believed the news, especially when he sees the stuff that's written about him. Now, according to him, it's made him look like a despicable person, although some supporters applaud RFK for standing by what the Democratic Party and, of course, the First Amendment actually stands for, one of which is freedom of speech. Do you think that the Democratic Party has changed drastically over the past few years? Can we trust them? Would you vote for them? And do you agree that mainstream media is attacking RFK for going against President Biden? Or is this just all a big, huge coincidence? Now, if you ask his own kin, one of them would actually say that RFK's 2024 bid is an embarrassment. Jack Schlossberg's grandson of the late President John F. Kennedy and RFK's cousin says that the conspiracy theories that RFK has been discussing on different platforms is absolutely wrong, and that if we want someone like JFK back in the White House, there's only one guy who shares his grandfather's vision. So who is this amazing person? Well, it's none other than President Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., of course. And he also called him the most progressive president that the United States has ever had. Do you guys agree with this? And do you also find that RFK's talks about alleged conspiracy theories as false and misleading? Make sure you guys share your thoughts in the comment section down below. Now, before I go, guys, I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you on the next one.